talking about practice.
We gonna be together with God.
Oh my gosh. There's some powder? Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're going to be talking about the Atomic Bent 100. This is a redemption arc, if you will. Now, if you remember my review from last year and many of the videos I made last summer, I did not like the Atomic Bent 100 for 2023 and 2024. I just felt like it was too soft. When you tried to load it and release the turn, it could load into the turn, but it couldn't release. The skis felt like a wet noodle in the second half of the turn. I complained endlessly because I saw a lot of other people promoting that ski, and I was like, that ski is not very good. It's definitely not a do-everything ski. And honestly, it was the only bent ski I had skied, and I really put a sour taste in my mouth. So, when I skied the Bent 110 this year, I was floored. I said, the Bent 110 feels great. It was a 10 out of 10. It was my favorite powder ski. It's the best ski I skied all year, probably. So what happened? How did you end up from such a good Bent 110 to such a lousy Bent 100? Recently, I watched the interview that Ski Essentials had with Chris Bent-Chetler, where they talked about the changes for 2025, and he says the Bent 100 and the Bent 120, they used the wood inside of the core to make it a slightly stiffer ski. So, I don't know if Chris Bent-Chetler saw any of my videos. I don't know if it's just a common issue that they felt too, but I stand by what I said. The last generation Bent 100 was too floppy. It could not support a good turn. It would kind of wash out the turn when you got to the end of it, and it was really an unsatisfying ski. I've heard people say that maybe it was just the ski I had, and who knows, right? Atomic is great to work with, don't get me wrong, but they don't send me the skis. I go to my own rental shops and pay for a demo each day. And same for this review. No one paid me to review the ski. I'm not affiliated with Atomic. I'm not paid by Atomic. I'm just giving you my honest opinion here. And maybe that was the case, that I got a busted ski or whatever, however you want to say it, a bunk ski, but I don't think so. I think it was an actual issue with that ski. So, now that they've fixed it, what do I think of the 2025 Atomic Bent 100? Yeah, they fixed it. Yeah, these are way better skis. Holy cow. Yeah, that stiffness is exactly what it needed, because it now loads into the turn and lets you take that energy out of the turn. What an improvement. This is the most improved ski I've ever seen generation to generation. What an amazing ski. Now, I skied this ski in a 186, which means it has a 20-meter turn radius. It's a fairly simple design. It's got just that basic fiberglass and wood core. It feels like it's probably about 2,000 to 2,100 grams just in my hand, but hard to say there. It's got a healthy amount of splay in the tail and the tip. It's got Atomic's new Horizon Tech this year. Here you can see, rather than just kind of a splay on the sides, it's kind of got a squared off splay in the tips. That's supposed to help it prevent it from catching so much in the snow when you get that kind of heavier snow. You can see here a fairly healthy amount of camber, but not overwhelming, and a very toned down graphic in the tip, but a pretty exciting graphic in the tail. Now that we've gotten kind of the specs and the build out of the way, let's talk about how they felt on the snow. My first impression with these was outstanding. They felt so much better. It was night and day difference from the previous generation Atomic Bent 100 to this year. Everything felt good. It supported my turns. It held me well. I found that kind of soft spot in the ski that allowed me to kind of load it up and launch it out. I had just an absolute blast skiing on these. I was really blown away. I can't believe these are the same ski as the 2023 skis I reviewed last year. And I skipped the 2024, but they were the same as the 2023. All right, now that we've talked first impressions, let's talk good, and then we'll talk about the bad. The good, my favorite thing about the ski, honestly, is that it has this really like soft spot kind of in the middle of the ski when you press down. It takes a fairly stiff ski and allows it to be a little bit more malleable. So it's almost like you're just finding this soft spot in the ski and able to really leverage that to make a nice turn. This extra stiffness, in my opinion, totally fixed the carving. It made it so I'm not just getting half a turn, I'm getting the first half, which it always had, and then I'm loading and I'm getting the second half of the turn as well. So kudos to Atomic. That was a big issue, and they really found a way to fix it without completely gutting apart this ski's identity. One thing I liked about this ski is that it didn't make me feel deaf to the snow. I could really get a feel for the snow under my foot and how to flex my ski differently based on the snow conditions. So that was something I really liked about the ski. As far as off-trail goes, this felt smooth and soft in the woods. The new Horizon Tech is not a huge difference, but it definitely gets caught up less in the snow than previous generations. So I like what they've done with the Horizon Tech. It seems like a measurable improvement, like 10 to 20%, not a ton, but I like that it's getting hung up less, especially as we get later into the winter. All right, now that we've talked good, let's talk about the bad, because this ski is not perfect. And if you're gonna buy this ski, don't you wanna know its downsides, right? You wanna know all the good things about it and what it's for, but don't you also wanna know about the drawbacks? Because if you buy the ski, you're gonna be the one stuck with it. So let's talk drawbacks. The drawbacks on this ski, honestly, are that it's just not as fun and flirty as the Bent 110. It takes itself a little bit more seriously. And what do I mean by that? Well, because it's a little bit lacking in the width, what happens is when you go off trail, it sinks down into the snow a little bit more. Because it's kind of deeper down in the snow, the Horizon Tech has more opportunity to get caught. Now, this is an improvement from the last Bent 100 I reviewed, but still it's noticeable because it doesn't quite have that flotation that the Bent 110 has. It sinks down and then gets hung up a lot easier. So that's a noticeable difference. So it just allows you to have a little less fun in the woods. The turn radius feels much straighter and a lot less flirty. Now granted, this is a little bit longer length than a 186, but it's still noticeable and just it wants to straight line a lot more. I appreciate that I can finally load up and get myself across the hill easier, but just so you know, if you're looking at this between the Bent 110 and the Bent 100, that's just one factor that makes this a little bit less fun than the Bent 110. The last drawback it has is honestly, a lot of it centers around its width. I do think that this is a better option for an all-mountain ski than it was previously. It's certainly not a ski that I'm going to steer people away from. But the con of it is honestly that it's in a weird spot width-wise. It's kind of stepping into the Atomic Maverick territory. There's some crossover between the backland as well. I think that if I was going to recommend bents, or if I was buying my own bent skis, I would probably go with the wider width, but that's just my opinion. Now let's talk score. Overall, I am very impressed with the way that they fixed these skis, that they didn't gut its identity completely and still kept a lot of what makes the Bent 110 fun. And I do think that this finally comes in an area where I can recommend these skis. I was very happy on them. I was very happy to be on them. I found a ton of good runs to go on. I felt like the carving finally made sense to me where I could get it around, have a lot of fun. This was a stable platform. This is a fantastic ski. Would I recommend it as heavily as the Bent 110? No, but that's how I feel about most 100mm width underfoot. They just kind of are in this weird spot where they don't tend to perform as well. If it's a stretched out carving ski and it should really be like an 88 or 90, those tend to just feel a little bit less reactive. And if it's meant to be a powder ski, it doesn't perform as well as the wider skis. So it sits in a weird place. But I think that I can finally recommend these Bent 100s because if you're looking for a safe bet, this is absolutely a safe bet. And if you're looking for a ski that's very diverse in where it can go on the ski hill, this ski finally matches that. It has good carving, it has good kind of loading energy into the turn, loading it out of the turn, and it performs decently enough off trail that you'll have fun and you'll at least be able to access the entire mountain. So for me, personally, as somebody who paid for their own demo, who went out and spent their own money, I'm giving this an 8.1 out of 10. It's not nearly as good as the Bent 110 because it's not a dedicated powder ski. I still like the Atomic Maverick more, but for what you're getting a really smooth feeling loading ski, and I think that there's a lot of fun to be had here. If it were me, I would commit to one thing or the other, go all the way powder or all the way carving ski, but that's just me. But I think if you're looking specifically for this kind of ski with a 100mm width underfoot, this is actually finally a really good option. And I give Atomic all the credit in the world for looking at a ski and not just burying their head in the ground, but actually making fixes that people were asking for, because this was not a good performing carving ski, and now it's something that underfoot when I'm carving actually felt like a ton of fun. So that is my honest opinion of the Atomic Bent 100. Like I said before, I have no skin in the game whether you buy this or not. I will put an affiliate link down below if you're set on buying these, or the Bent 110s if you want to support the channel. That's a way of doing it if you're dead set on buying these skis either way. So if you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. If you want to become a member, there's a bunch of perks. You'll be able to see these kind of videos early. You also get like ski recommendations, ski length recommendations. I'll even give you ski coaching at the top tier. But as always, more than anything, thank you for just taking the time to watch. Because you guys watch this content, I'm able to demo these skis and give you my honest opinion. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being part of the community. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.
'Cause we gonna be together forever. We gonna be together, little boy.